When was the last time you went to the dentist? I hope it's not too long, as checkups and cleaning should be done every 6 months to keep your mouth healthy. Yes, it's time to get those dental checkups done for adults and students before the summer break is over. Make use of those summer sales and smile. Hi there, I'm Theodore Henry, welcoming you to this Wednesday edition of Jamaica Magazine. We explore the benefits of good oral care and more in today's show. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Shelby, I want you. I make it look like you have the whole world on your shoulders, Samasa.
Ashley, I'm tired. Every day the same thing and I can't take this no more.
And what happened now?
Now my boss man, every day I have me assign some documents I'm not supposed to assign for with some big money. And when I say, sir, I'm not supposed to assign for them here, I'm going to say, you want a job or what?
But see, report him. You hear what I say, girl? Report him to your designated officer or the Complaints and Protected Disclosures Unit at the Integrity Commission. And guess what? Don't worry yourself. The information that you give will be kept confidential.
You sure?
Girl, me positive. Under the Protected Disclosures Act, you can make a report as an employee, and once it is made in good faith, then your boss really and truly can't do nothing about it. And if you don't want to call, you can make an anonymous complaint under the Integrity Commission Act of 2017 by simply downloading and sending in a report in proprietary form from the Commission's website. Just create one email address with no identity attached, so if they have follow-up questions, they can contact you. But sis, make sure that the report you bring is true and you don't have no bad intentions.
Okay, me I go do it.
If you or someone you know has experienced or observed matters involving corruption, improper conduct, or impropriety within the workplace, you're being encouraged to file a report with the Integrity Commission by calling their anti-corruption hotline at 876-926-0001 or emailing cpd@integrity.gov.jm. The Integrity Commission, united against corruption.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Wednesday, August 16, 2023. The country's unemployment rate fell to a new record low of 4.5% in April this year. The updated figure was released by the Statistical Institute of Jamaica, Statin, in its labor force survey for the period. Director General of Statin, Carol Coy, reports that the number of unemployed persons in April this year was 61,300. That represents a reduction of 19,700 or 24.3% when compared to the corresponding period in 2022.
This was influenced by the fall in the number of unemployed females. The unemployment rate moved down for both males and females. The male unemployment rate was 3.4%, while the unemployment rate for females was 5.7%.
Ms. Coy was addressing Statin's quarterly digital media briefing on Tuesday. She also disclosed that the number of unemployed youth, those aged 14 to 24 years, was 24,600, a decrease of 68,000 or 21.7%.
Similar to the other labor market indicators, the youth unemployment rate was influenced by the decline in female unemployment.
Employed Jamaicans increased by 43,300 to over 1.3 million. The largest increase in the employed labor force by occupation group was in service workers and shop and market sales workers. With the start of the new school year just 2 weeks away, the Ministry of Education and Youth is reminding principals and school boards of strategies to retain teachers. Portfolio Minister Fable Williams gave the update earlier today at the post-cabinet press briefing. Addressing the matter of teacher resignation, she says 427 teachers have formally resigned during the period January to September this year. Minister Williams says this is a much better position when compared to the 1,538 resignations received for the same period in 2022. She, however, stresses that the gap needs to be filled, and principals and school boards are being urged to utilize any of the over 20 strategies put forward. Among them are the pre-approved permission for early recruitment and the ability to engage teachers who are on approved vacation leave.
That is, they can work in the system as teachers and get paid for that in addition to being paid for their vacation leave. What is good about this as well is that teachers can teach at other schools. They don't have to teach in the schools in which to which they are, attached. They can do it in other schools. Principals as well, who are going off on their long leave, can be retained as well, but not as principal. They can teach in their school, of which they are a principal, or they can teach in another school. So that's available to them.
Schools may also seek approval to extend the services of teachers who are scheduled to retire in the upcoming academic year. They may also engage pre-trained teachers with a first degree as well as final year teaching students. Other strategies to retain teachers include engaging underutilized staff, merging of small classes, increasing the use of ICT in classrooms, and applying voluntary relocation of teachers in overstaffed schools. In addition, Minister Williams says 88 student teachers are expected to graduate and become available for the new school year. A $50 million agreement was signed today between the Ministries of Health and Labor for the implementation of the New Limb, New Life program. The signing took place at this morning's post-cabinet press briefing at Jamaica House. It will benefit approximately 200 persons who have lost limbs. They are to receive grants of $250,000 as a subsidy to purchase a prosthetic device through the existing Compassionate Fund program. Under the agreement, the Jamaica Council for Persons with Disabilities, JCPD, will identify the beneficiaries, conduct vulnerability assessments, and maintain accurate records and documentation of beneficiaries. In addition to the distribution of grants, the Ministry of Health will monitor the progress and outcome of the program, ensure full transparency and accountability, and manage financial records. Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton says close to 90% of people who lose a limb do so as a result of a medical condition, particularly diabetes, and not due to trauma. He says they must be given a second chance to reintegrate into society.
Help them to become more economically viable because they would have now been restricted by a loss of a limb. Give them a sense of hope, but also, very importantly, highlighting the consequences of lifestyle diseases, the consequences of diabetes, and in some instances even using some of these persons who volunteer as testimonials to enhance a more health-seeking posture by the population generally.
Jamaicans are being reminded to store food at the appropriate temperatures to prevent spoilage as well as illnesses that could result from persons consuming items gone bad. This warning from the Scientific Research Council, SRC, comes against the background of the heightened atmospheric temperatures currently being experienced.
Higher temperatures actually put our food in what is known as the danger zone. We all need to be concerned about keeping food at the proper temperature so that it is going to be safe to eat.
Mrs. Aiken Min points out that the danger zone ranges between 5 and 60 degrees Celsius, which creates the environment for organisms such as bacteria and mold to grow, which poses a threat to food safety. She further emphasizes that bacteria grows quickly, and the rule of thumb is we should keep hot foods hot and cold foods cold.
And also not putting hot food directly into the refrigerator, because that can cause the temperature in the refrigerator to drop and threaten the safety of everything else that's being stored in there.
Mrs. Aiken Min is also urging persons to avoid keeping raw foods in cars for prolonged periods and, where necessary and possible, use ice packs inside lunch bags to maintain the optimal storage temperature. And finally, the Ministry of Agriculture is reporting that youth farmers currently occupy more than 24% of the land in agro-parks, exceeding the ministry's target of 20%. Agro-parks represent an important part of the government's economic development agenda, particularly in terms of foreign currency gains and savings. As a result, Portfolio Minister Floyd Green says the ministry is in talks with private sector partners to provide additional assistance to young farmers who have access to government lands through agro-parks.
We don't want them just to come and get the land and then still have difficulty setting up their agro-enterprise. So we're going to be working through the ministry, through RADA, and through private sector to provide land preparation free of cost for young people who come into our agri-parks.
The minister was speaking at the recent Denby Agricultural, Industrial and Food Show held at the Denby Showground in Clarendon. He added that the ministry would also collaborate with the Jamaica 4-H clubs to find and support more successful young farmers across the island. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
No one likes bad breath or toothaches, and that's why it's so important for everyone to be responsible for their oral health care and avoid diseases. Learn more about why you need to take care of the mouth for so much more than eating.
Dental health is really important because the mouth is the entry point of nutrition in our bodies. And if it is not functioning properly, then we run the risk of not getting the correct nutrition. Actually, we refer more so to oral health these days than dental health. If we have bad teeth that impair our ability to chew properly, then we will tend to keep away from certain food groups that could be challenging to chew. People with bad oral hygiene, people who use and eat and drink a lot of sweets, you can have decay, and you can also have, along with it, periodontal gum disease. You know, the big one that jump out at me is periodontal disease, gum disease. That is when the gum begin to be bleedy, sore, puffy, and just generally uncomfortable. It carries some social consequences, bad breath, and you tend to lose self-confidence. It's so important to have a consultation with your dental personnel, whether the dental surgeon or the hygienist, who will be able to diagnose the needed treatment for such a condition. All sugars are bad, but everything is in moderation. The Jamaica Dental Association endorsed the efforts of the government in reducing the levels of sugar in the bottled beverages. The aim is to get it to 2.5 milligrams in 100 mils by the year 2023. It would be roughly 2.5 teaspoonful. The current level that the government has aimed for, and it was introduced at the end of January, is 5 milligrams per 100 mils. So that is coming from 6.5, so it's a gradual reduction. And the taste will be not so significantly different. As a dentist, I recommend the soft, but I'm aware that a lot of patients tend towards the harder ones. It does some damage by cutting a little line at the neck of the teeth, just where the teeth meet the gum line. So we recommend the soft toothbrush. It's really important to begin by putting the brush on the gum. A lot of people avoid the gum because they tend to think that it makes the gum bleedy. It's the exact opposite. It is as a result of not brushing the gum why there is some amount of bleediness. And you should brush in the direction of growth. The top ones, you brush them down in a circular motion, and the bottom ones, you brush them up, covering all surfaces. Don't forget your tongue and, as I said before, the gum itself. Flossing is very, very important. If you try to imagine that the toothbrush does not get between the teeth, the only thing that can remove the material that will accumulate between the teeth would be the dental floss. The technique is also important. Hold it short, get it past that little tight area, and gently bring it down into the gum, that little crevice of the gum, and remove it, remove material that might have accumulated there. And we recommend 6 monthly checkup. If you tend to be prone to decays, we would really like to see you every 6 months. If you have been checked and you are pretty much okay, a yearly visit would be adequate. Extraction really is the last resort. With regular examination, we can pick up using x-rays and visual examination early decays, and these can be effectively dealt with by regular fillings. If it has gone too far and it is now in the nerve, there are other procedures called root canals that can be done, and sometimes we need to cover the entire tooth with a crown to bring it back to usefulness. If your teeth are malaligned, just not aesthetically pleasing, or are causing some kind of effect on your body, then they should be straightened. Orthodontic treatment or braces simply mean moving the teeth through bone to put them in a more harmoniously pleasing position. It's important because you are moving teeth through bone, and the harmony between the joint, the soft tissues, and the teeth must be respected. Not respecting it can result in pain in the joint, headaches, and just a general sense of discomfort in your mouth. It's important to visit your dentist regularly and without fear, because with new technology, and we now have many new dentists in our system, where it's not difficult to get an appointment to see a dentist on a regular basis. There's always a needle, but outside of that, there's absolutely no pain.
Giving Jamaica's youth a second chance. Now that's the alternative path being offered by the Ministry of Justice. Find out about its program aimed at providing a measured approach to helping young people who run into trouble with the law.
Scenario 1. A child is caught desecrating a building. To him or her, it is fun. After all, they are not hurting anyone. Scenario 2. Teenage boy meets girl. They fall in love. They decide to do the do. These scenarios seem somewhat innocent until... In scenario 1, that child is charged with vandalism because the building is the property of someone and it will cost them a lot of money to undo the damage done by said child. In scenario 2, the boy is arrested. As it happens, he is 17 years old and the girl, well, she is 15 years old. What they may not understand is that although they are both teenagers, it is unlawful to have sexual intercourse with a person under the age of 16. So now these young people will be jailed. But do they have to be?
Child diversion in the Ministry of Justice is just our way of diverting children who are considered to be troubled, wayward, or children who just come into contact with the justice system, because not every child that comes into contact with the system is a troubled child. So we offer them rehabilitation and an opportunity to get a second chance.
So how do we get to this stage? Consider the scenarios earlier. Those children are now in the custody of the court. In a traditional judicial system, when found guilty, these persons would find themselves behind bars. However, the Ministry of Justice has reconsidered the fate of such individuals and is offering a better solution. But first, the individuals must accept responsibility Then, they and their victims, along with the court, must agree to the terms of treatment, that is, child diversion. So, if your child is between the ages of 12 and 17, they are eligible. The program, which began in 2020, is guided by the Child Diversion Act, which was passed in 2018, and is supported by other acts such as the Child Care and Protection Act, which speaks to the best interests of children. Some offenses under Schedule 1 of the Child Diversion Act are simple larceny, malicious destruction of property, and having sexual intercourse with a person under 16. However, judges have autonomy to send cases or offenses to the Child Diversion Program at their discretion. Yes, there is hope for our young people who find themselves on the wrong side of the law. But what does that second chance look like?
It will look different for every child. So what happens once they are referred to us, we have offices across the island, so we have 14 offices. They're sent to one of our offices in the parishes, and the child diversion officer in the parish will do an intake assessment, and we ask the child a lot of questions. We also ask the parents questions to get an understanding of what this child is all about and what home life is like, what school is like, and so on. Once we're able to do that, we then craft what we call a treatment program for that child, an individualized program for the child.
After a treatment plan is drafted, it will need the approval of the Child Diversion Committee. Once approval is given, treatment will commence.
A child might be referred to the program for simple larceny, but when they come to us, we realize that they're using drugs, their educational level is not where it should be. The intervention that is provided will be geared towards not only the simple larceny, but also the other interventions that that child might need. So we might have to refer them to, let's say, the National Council on Drug Abuse, so they might be able to get drug abuse treatment and counseling.
And what about that boy in scenario 2? What hope is there for him?
These children come to us. They might be A students in school. They might be actively participating in sports, other activities, but they are, for whatever reason, they decided to try and they were caught having sexual intercourse. They're referred to us. For a child like that, that comes to the child diversion program, the aim of the program is not to punish them, but is to ensure that they get the adequate information about the actions that they're taking, how it can affect them, how it can affect others. So it's not a case where, oh, because they're caught committing this offense, that their life should be over. So child diversion basically provides them an opportunity to, you know, when you were in basic school and you had that eraser, or primary school, to just erase that mistake and rewrite it in a more positive way. I just want parents or guardians to know that child diversion, the program itself, is here to help our young people develop, and it's here to help them develop in a positive way. So don't consider it punishment, or even if it is, it's not one that is so final that this child cannot go into adulthood without leaving that simple mistake that they made as a child behind.
We close off today's show with a look at an exciting opportunity for formal land ownership with the help of a critical service provided by the National Land Agency, NLA.
Becoming a landowner is a significant feat for most people. That feeling of entitlement and success of being able to turn your own key and say, "Welcome to my home." This could be you, and the government is doing its part through the Adjudication Services Division of the National Land Agency.
Systematic registration is defined as the process of land titling through a determined jurisdiction, and it's performed on a commune-by-commune basis. Now, what exactly does that mean? It means that it's the methodical and orderly registration of parcels of land in a designated area using the adjudication process. Adjudication is defined as the process through which existing rights in a parcel of land are finally and authoritatively ascertained. Key things to note: adjudication doesn't alter existing rights or create new ones. It merely establishes what rights exist on ground.
Now that we've established the definition of these very important terms, let's get down to the meat of the matter. You have a piece of land, or you've been living on land that you do not have the title for, but have legitimate claims. Let's find out how you can go about becoming certified landowners utilizing the National Land Agency's adjudication services.
Systematic registration may be new to Jamaica, but it's certainly not new to the world. At the National Land Agency, we have a wealth of information on unregistered land parcels in Jamaica. So currently we know that the parishes with the lowest rates of registration are Portland and St. Elizabeth. So we'll definitely be targeting those two parishes. The mandate of the Adjudication Services Division is to assist landowners who have been in open, undisturbed and undisputed possession of their land for upwards of 12 years to claim ownership of their land via systematic registration using the adjudication process. There's a proposed adjudication process for systematic registration, and we have benchmarked other jurisdictions, and the adjudication process will entail the following. The first is the identification of an adjudication area, project area. The next step will look at what are the areas in those parishes where there's a lot of economic activity, or they're near town centers, probably farmlands, where these farmers will be able to benefit from having a certificate of title to use as collateral security. Once an area has been identified, a recommendation will be made to the minister to declare that area as an area for systematic registration.
Surveying will go hand in hand with the adjudication process, so you can look out for the team from the Adjudication Services Division, as they will be situated within the selected communities. These teams will be visiting households parcel by parcel, interviewing landowners and investigating whether or not they have been in open, undisturbed and undisputed possession of their land for over 12 years.
The adjudication record, it will be published in a daily newspaper circulating not only in Jamaica but across the diaspora. So it's not only notice to community members and notice to Jamaica, but it is notice to the world that persons are claiming to be the owners of land. Now, let me start with the positive. Where there are no objections to the adjudication record, as the director, I'll be able to issue what is known as an adjudication certificate. And this adjudication certificate will be deemed to be conclusive proof of ownership. This is now the documentary proof that the person on that certificate is in fact the owner of the land. Where there are objections, however, all these objections will be referred to the adjudication committees, and adjudication committees are established in accordance with Section 9 of the Special Provisions Act to determine ownership rights in land.
Now that I've given you the basic information that you need to regularize your status as a landowner, it's now up to you to make that step. All the best.
This is where we leave you today on this edition of Jamaica Magazine, but be sure to join us again tomorrow for another lineup of insightful and engaging content. You can also find more content like this on our website at jis.gov.jm. Don't forget to send us your feedback on today's show or any of our programs via email to jamaicamagazine@jis.gov.jm. On behalf of the entire production crew, I'm Theodore Henry. Thank you so much for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.